Get out of the car. I'm mindful of a situation that occurred back in my early hustling days. This was probably before we were fully formed as a unit, if you will. And in fact, I know it was before because some of my guys were coming home on the weekend. Around this time, I had pulled back from going to the clubs and a bunch of parties due to people not knowing how to act, including, unnecessary violence. This is before having our very own clubs. My observation with the hustle game was that too many people were in it for reasons that weren't related to just making money. And I didn't want that to be me. I wanted to make money and be as safe as possible doing so. So it was no clubs for me. One weekend, some of my guys came home and they went out to the club. Okay, that's cool. I'm staying home as usual because that's my motto. They go out and they get into an interrelated beef, meaning the beef is not about them, but it's about someone else we know. And okay, that's cool too, because that's how the game goes, especially if it's a Greenville against whomever thing. They came back to the house explaining what happened. Initially, I was going maybe out of peer pressure, but I was going nonetheless. And at this point, I had most of the tools. And I don't want to scare y'all by telling you what most of the tools were, just in case somebody up here don't understand exactly what I mean. But use your imagination when I say I had most of the tools. And we went to get the tools, and we're planning on going to wherever we thought they were. But before we could get off my street, I told them to let me out. I told them that I wasn't going. One, because it wasn't their beef, and we had time enough now to cool our heads and consider the costs. The cost to me was to lose focus of the momentum that I had gained for myself in the streets, especially getting money. And if the beef was ours initially, I would have went. However, it wasn't. And when I got out of the car, so did one of my brothers. I bring up this story because it can relate to everyday life, especially now that we are of age and supposed to be more mature. We're all faced with making decisions that are aligned with our mottos and maybe even our morals. We can set mottos up for our lives to live by, but then are faced with circumstances they may challenge us or tempt us to go against our disciplines. That's okay, because challenges may come. And that's okay. We may get into challenges. We may give in to challenges, but here's another thing that's okay. We can get out of the car, if you will, and get back to what has gotten us thus far. If the decisions are contrary to your purpose and journey, get out of the car without shame. If the decisions are in conflict with your purity and your joy, get out of the car without shame. Get out of the car that's going in the opposite direction of your calling, or if it's going in the opposite direction of your children, or if it's going in the opposite direction of your currency or your money. We don't have to be pressured in continuing on a path that's leading to destruction. Consider the cost. Take the reputation hit if you need to. Let whomever say whatever. The best decision for you is for you and yours, and about you and yours. And you never know, someone else may be inspired to get out the car as well, and turn their life around and get back on track. Consider the cost. Get out the car. Let me say something.